Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you, as always, on a Monday afternoon. And I'm always joined by Andrew Combo Salop, and you got a little glimpse into the behind the scenes there. Sorry, I didn't make the full screen thumbnail like I usually do, but hey, you get to see the side of my head. I don't know. Combo, what's happening?
All is well. Watched your Cade video. I had a good conversation with Jaime Hawquez. You could catch that on Combo's Court podcast. Whoever wants to tune in.
Nice.
Came on Combo's Court right after he dropped 41. So shouts to him. And yeah, everything's good, man. A lot of good content coming from us. And it's always good to be here on the B-Ball Breakdown live show.
Always, always. So and there's Chip. What's up, Chip? We had a little bit of discussion earlier today via text about the Harden. He threw up a pass to Zubac or a shot and got fouled in overtime. And there was some discussion of whether or not that was actually a shot or a pass. And I mean, to the refs rules, he gathers the ball. He puts the ball in the air. It gets over 10 feet. It's in the direction of the basket. And I suppose that's all you need to deal with when you're the ref, right? Even though it looked like, it goes to Zubac and he reached up to try and, lob it in. I didn't see the baseline angle until just now before we went live, and I quickly sent a text Chip where, you know what, and it was definitely a pass. It comes out of his hand a little bit funky, and then he kind of bats it towards Zubac. So anyway, there you go. That's what happens. I'll send the clip over if I get a chance later. But it was a great game. The Clippers and the Warriors battling for a playoff seeding, and so it was nice to get a last game of the season, something that was pretty intense, and players wanted to win.
I was in the weight room watching a little bit of that. It was playoff intensity in that first half when I was watching for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, two really good teams, and the Clippers are on a roll right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how playoff Kawhi looks, because he's been looking great here in the late stages of this regular season.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great back and forth game. I mean, you get taking the best shots, and I'm working on the Kawhi video right now. And I think I got to add a little bit of defense to it as well, just like overall Clippers defense, because I had texted that out.
I thought it's defense schmefense, Coach Nick.
I know. But you know what? When they play it that well, you got to put some props on it, because they got, so many defenders and they all move really well. Now, that said, when you watch what the Warriors were doing on offense, they were dicing them up on all their split cuts. And so when you set a screen in the weak side away from the ball, the screener is oftentimes the most dangerous person in that play, right? Because the two defenders want to go to the cutter, and a lot of times it's Steph, and that means Jimmy or whoever else is slipping to the basket, and then Draymond's hitting them with cuts. They got a bunch of those, to the point where I was like, did they prepare? Did the Clippers do any preparing? Because they didn't look prepared. I also think that Steph might have gotten this season high in low post split threes, which normally that's their bread and butter. They throw the ball low post, they screen for Steph, he comes around. He never gets those because everyone's so used to knowing what happens and guarding him. I think he hit 2 or 3 in the game, and he might have gotten another shot off in that scenario and maybe didn't make it, if my memory serves. So that was really interesting to see how, and again, a testament to how well the Warriors are running their offense and disguising certain things. So I was a little bit concerned about that defensively, because normally, yes, they rotate so well, but they also will not have to deal with any other team that runs split cuts like that. So maybe that'll be a blessing for them.
Harden's having a great season. And I feel like when he's having a great season, nobody talks about it, man. When he was with the Nets, everybody was talking about it. And actually, he was playing well with the Nets, just they never got to play together.
Yeah, I do. I think he had a great. He still can do the things that we know Harden can do, and then magnified by he's doing the point guard stuff too, right? But it's a little up and down. He'll have games he's getting up there and whatever, but it's not always consistent. But yesterday, I mean, by the way, the 1-2 punch of Kawhi and Harden, there's very few teams that
they got a big three.
Norman Watts.
Well, yeah, actually, I mean, that guy's underrated himself. But I was talking about Norm. Big Four, man. Big Four was Zubac. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they fit together very, very well. They're usually really well coached. I don't know what Coach VG was doing on the defensive side yesterday, but it was what a great game. And then Kawhi. So I'm working on the Kawhi video. I have all these clips from the last week or 2 weeks where he is shooting like he's on a bender, man. Like he's shooting 50% from 3 on high volume. He's making every other shot around the basket. Insane effective field goal percentage. And So, but then he drops yesterday's game, right? Which he was even better than that. 36 points, didn't hardly miss any shots. Every time they needed him to do something, he did. He got 7 assists, I think, where it was just like drawing two players. So imagine that he's drawing 2 players to half court, and now it's like goes to Harden, or he'll set up Chris Dunn.
So you're saying it's like 4-on-3 with Harden?
What?
You're saying it's like 4-on-3 with Harden?
Yeah, that's not something you can handle. And then I would like to see even more of Harden and Kawhi interact. Like Harden sets him up, he gets some stuff that works well, but it's not a lot. And part of it is they want to keep them separated to stretch the defense as far as they can. But I would love to see them get into some more 2-man actions. I think that would be really devastating to a defense.
Is Kawhi good in actions when he doesn't have the basketball?
Yeah. I mean, I think his gravity just is really valuable, right? No matter where. But he has a great pin down that they have him coming off from the left corner, and he comes off that and he curls.
I was more talking about like him as a screener.
Oh, as a screener. Yeah. He could do that. He'd be good. You're right. They have him being screened a lot more.
I mean, everywhere he's been. I mean, right. Especially when you're thinking about Toronto Kawhi and this Kawhi, he's more of the primary ball handler. Even though actually Harden has been the system this year, though he has been the system,
but in a much more traditional way, right? He's a little bit more like Chris Paul than he was, Harden in Houston.
We actually saw some of it with the Nets.
Yeah, and that too. We've seen it with the OKC. We've been waiting for. He's been there doing it. The Sixers too. Like we've seen it.
So do you consider Harden more of a point guard or shooting guard?
Well, now he's a point guard. He's a pure point guard.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. When he needs it, they do it. Just like by the way, Jimmy Butler was fantastic. So if this whole Butler thing with the and the Tatum thing, thank you combo. You set me up whenever that was. By the way, what's cool about that was remember when we talked about who's better, Butler or Tatum?
Yeah, I remember talking about that. I mean, I think we both had Butler, right?
Oh, well, of course you didn't get any grief, but that was late into the show. That was probably 30 minutes in.
On another show that I did that. Shouts to the Goodrow Pod. They were going at me on the internet about
good.
Butler.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that somebody else got it because I had no idea about Tatum fans. Why didn't you warn me?
I mean, he just won a championship, and Celtics have one of the biggest fan bases. Why wouldn't you have fans coming at you? You know it comes with the territory.
Yeah, but it's a little different with Tatum. There's some context there. I think I don't even know if I want to get into it, but the cool reason why I brought it up was that it was kind of neat because it came up like 40 minutes into our live show, and then they're trying to throw it back at me. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like they watched our whole show all the way for 40 minutes. That's really great. That made me excited. So it's like, you want to yell at me for that. What I'm going to take from that is that, hey, that's awesome. Thanks for watching so much of our show. And that was great. So
I was going through the comments and of your Pistons video there. They were like, I think somebody said, I want to hear what Combo has to say about this video.
Yeah. Right. And then you're excited.
What'd you learn about Cade in your conversation, and how are you feeling about the 3-versus-6 matchup with the Knicks and the Pistons?
Well, I mean, and we got that in that game where the Pistons came out on top. I do feel like they're taking advantage of Brunson still coming back from a long layoff. But I don't know. The Knicks in and of itself, their defensive rating is way too low for a team that has OG, Bridges, Hart. I got to keep going with this. Even when I throw pressures out.
Mitchell Robinson's back.
Mitchell Robinson. I'm missing somebody. Even the 2-guard, Deuce. So it's like all those guys. They shouldn't be. Let me tell you how low it was. 21st, I think, the last time I checked. Not long ago. Let's look here. Let's give you.
Here's what people tell me that within the NBA that basically their two best players can't defend. So that's the big issue.
I'm sorry. They're 13th. The Knicks are 13th in defensive rating, which is a little bit higher than I remembered it being. So
you know why? You know why it's higher, right?
Because Brunson was out.
100%.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because Brunson, there's certain things that you can't expect Brunson to do. Like if they're going to force a switch and back him down, I mean, I showed Cade completely pushed him over and they didn't call it. But he did flop his head. And so, Jalen, if you're out there listening, you got to stop embellishing some of the calls, which are legit calls. They're not going to give them to you. So I showed one in my video where they got the switch and they posted him up and he ran him over extra chicken wing in there too to knock Brunson down. But because he like really accentuated on the way back, I think the refs put it away, and then Cade just laid it in. And by the way, if they're going to insist on guarding Cade with Deuce McBride, like I don't understand what Tibbs is doing. Here's what I think I know what they're doing. It's possible that they were locked into their position and they don't want to show the Pistons anything else, any other possible ways of guarding.
I mean, it's tough because the first defender might not be the guy finishing up on Cade because they do so much pick and roll, right? So it's going to be
But like they'd also just isolate and then clear the side and let him go to work.
I mean, I would go OG on him, me personally.
Yeah, and so you know what? So I might have even said it didn't make sense in the video, and it did make sense because now I'm thinking that Tibbs is just hiding what they want to do. He would do that.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, and I listen. Let me just put it this way. I hope that that's the case because that has to be the case. Otherwise, and then the Cade went off. They were guarding him suboptimal.
Tibbs playing a little bit of chess. The guy that puts the most stock on regular season game is now playing some chess.
I maybe. Let me close this out. I'm trying to find where's my bracket here? Oh yeah, here it is. So, let's get to some super chats real quick before we get too late in the game here. And don't forget, if you want us to answer one of your questions, the best way to do that is on the super chat side on the YouTube. It'll really help us keep the show going. We really, really appreciate it. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll give you some hype and some love. And here's Jay Race, friend of the breakdown. Great to see you out there. Thank you so much, Jay. And they ask, hey, Coach, I really enjoyed your Cade breakdown in the interview with Koo. Pistons beat New York 3-1 this season. Do you think that can translate to the playoffs? Okay, great. It's tough because the other thing about a regular season matchup would be that Tibbs is playing his starters as much as possible. I got to look at the matchups for the other games to see. I don't know. I mean, the Pistons have the home court advantage. The Knicks have the home court advantage. And so that's something. The Pistons are in the playoffs for the first time in a bit, so they don't have a lot of that experience playing together like that. That's something. The Knicks certainly do. So I don't know. I might have to lean toward the Knicks winning the series. I have to lean, maybe like Brunson kind of getting back into form now, and Tibbs adjusting. What do you think?
I agree with you because when we look at the second best player on both teams, think about it. It's Malik Beasley and Cat. So I would say, Knicks fans were trying to go at me because I said Cade was better than Brunson. If Cade wins this series, it's not even close.
Right. And
also Jaden Ivey's their second best player, and he's not even there.
I know, but look how much better they played after he went down.
Well, you know how it goes. I mean, we see it with Cleveland this year. It doesn't mean that their ceiling is higher without Jaden Ivey. They're just got to figure it out better with those two. That's all.
And I like Jaden Ivey. But you don't shortchange like Tobias Harris and Beasley is just a fantastic shooter.
I mean, it's not like having Cat and OG and Mikal Bridges. It's not the same. I mean, Jalen Brunson has the way better supporting cast. So if Cade wins this one, it's not even a debate. And I don't even think it should be a debate now. I think Cade's clearly better than Jalen.
No, I can't. You can't say it's clearly.
He's clearly better. He's the better two-way player. He's the better passer. He's the better everything.
Saying it by numbers per game.
No. I mean, he averages more assists, but the only thing that Jalen does better than him is get buckets, especially in the clutch. But Cade's getting better and better at that.
Yeah, but I think Brunson's fine. I think Cade's fine at passing. He's not throwing 45-foot skip passes.
He's clearly a better facilitator than Brunson.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Brunson can make most of the same passes he makes.
First of all, no, he can't because he's not 6'6". So
yeah, but I showed in the video was that like there are times when Cade has to cut down on those turnovers that he throws away. I don't think Brunson makes those kind of turnovers.
What's the turnover numbers?
It's not even about the volume at that point because it can rear its ugly head in a terrible situation where they need a bucket and they throw it away or something. That's how I look at it.
And then Cade in the playoffs. I mean, defense matters. Like you're not targeting Cade, you're targeting Brunson.
You got to defense, but I'll give you defense for that as well. So it's close, but you can't.
You're gonna give Cade passing, right? I mean, have you watched full games with both of them play? Like Cade is clearly the better passer than Jalen Brunson.
I don't know.
Clearly, like it's not close. It's clear. I know, like you might see if you look at the turnovers, if you look at specific video of his turnovers, he might have bad turnovers. But when we're talking about lob passes and cross-court passes and different options as a passer, Cade is clearly a better passer than
He
Jalen
doesn't
Brunson.
throw those cross-court skip passes, Cade does.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
I didn't see them.
He does.
All right. I don't know. I went through.
So Jalen Brunson's a better passer than Cade.
No, I just don't think it's clear like a huge advantage because Brunson can make the passes and draws all the defense and then can hit the guy when he's open in line like that.
I mean, Brunson's not a terrible passer or anything. It's just not like what he hangs his hat on, you know?
Right. All right. Brunson's a much better shooter from three.
Cade improved this year, but he's definitely a better shooter.
Yeah, Cade was okay. He's a little bit below average, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Brunson might not be that much higher.
Brunson's a better shooter.
35.6%, and then Brunson is at, and I think it's also volume. Brunson was taking out a ton of them. He's at 38% on 6. So that's
and also what if you give Brunson? I mean, if you give Cade a guy like Cat, I mean, his assist numbers go up even more. He's averaging 9 with this team.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't blame some of the things like you're trying to throw to Duren, that's an adventure. If you can get him in the right spot, he's whatever, he can just throw it down on anybody on a roll. But like, his hands, like it's an adventure for those. So there's guys out there, but you got, don't whatever. Don't give any shades to some of the guys they have on the team. Or it's not about Junior probably isn't the right fit. They're going to have to upgrade that. But, they have space around him.
It's not about shade. It's just that the Knicks supporting cast around Brunson is clearly better than supporting cast the Pistons have around Cade.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, that said, Cat obviously offensively is, but the other big reason I would probably say over Brunson in terms of their defensive issues is Cat.
Well, the big problem is their two best players are defensive liabilities.
Yeah. And Cat even more so, I think. Well, I mean, it's hard to measure that necessarily, but like when I went through that at some point, like in March, the vast majority when you're charting the makes against them, when they're both in there, it's Cat. Cat is the guy they're targeting. Cat is the guy that's like non-positioning. Cat is the guy that's not making a play when he needs to, and that's why they have to hope that his offense will overcome that. So
it's
I'm going to probably give the Knicks the nod in this series because of the home court advantage, but I could see it going 7. Can't you?
I could see it going 6 or 7. I would say Knicks in 6.
Yeah. And I would love to see Cade, announce his presence on the national stage. He needs to do that because he is not there yet. And I can tell you right now with the video I did, I didn't know exactly how many views I thought it was going to get, but it will probably be the lowest viewed video I have this year. And that's, it's Pistons, it's Cade. It's just not quite where everybody's, clamoring yet. So,
well, you also tried some different things in terms of the length of the video, right?
Yeah. Well, I like the interview. I wanted to give the whole thing, and you're right. Someone might take a quick look at that and think, "Oh my goodness!" So that's part of it. But I also
the comments seem like people were interested when I was watching. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I think if I did it again, I might have just taken that interview.
And also if the Pistons do well, can it have like a slow burn of increasing views? It
could. You never know. You never know. And I might end up being.
Has that ever happened to you before, where it was slow in the beginning and then it goes viral?
Oh, so much more now than ever before. Or not even necessarily viral, but it'll get to my normal numbers, but it takes much longer. It's interesting. I don't know what it's the algorithm is a fickle thing, I suppose. But so sometimes it looks like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. Yeah, and I look back a week or two later, I'm like, oh, look at that, it actually did fine. So and then to put up the bookend on that was we were talking about the passing and then the finishing at the rim. Of the players of the 37 players that take at least 5 shots in the restricted area per game, he's 37th. He's just last. And but one of the reasons why he had a great game against the Knicks was that he was 8 for 10 in that area, which is great to see. Love the jump hook. He's got a good jump hook in there. And that's what Koo was even saying, that there were moments when he was like, okay, let's not get so deep to the basket where if we're going to struggle on those, let's turn those into like a floater or a jump hook that might find more success.
Yeah, and I think the finishing gets better as he gets better, and then the supporting cast gets better in terms of spacing.
Right. So I'd be worried about that in a lot of different reasons. And then for the Pistons, the experience is going to be a thing. Non-home court advantage is a thing. And we'll have to find out JB versus Tibbs. That'll be an interesting matchup. So we'll have to kind of see, but it should be a good series. We should enjoy it. It should be like a good back and forth. And
a lot of good series. I mean, what's the most interesting to you? I'm thinking T-Wolves versus Lakers.
Oh, that's how that right. It's because the Clippers got the Nuggets. Clippers, Nuggets, Wolves, Lakers, Grizzlies, and then the play-in. The most interesting. All I can say is something about the Pacers has got me wondering about them. Are they going to be some dark horse that's going to go on a little bit of a run?
I just did a Pacers pod, and we were talking about how Ben Mathurin was injured last playoffs, and now he's here.
Yeah,
and he could provide he could provide something different for them. Both sides of the floor, competitor, plays defense, can get a bucket in the half court, which is really nice next to Tyrese.
Yeah.
So yeah,
sounds like it's a little bit up and down, and it's hard to always make sure you get the best version of him. But
and he's also not. And also, speaking of that, I mean, he's not a starter. He's a sixth man.
Right.
So, when you're talking about like guys, you're not sure when you can get the best version of them. It's nice to have them off the bench. Sixth man. For
sure. Well, Bron, best friend of the breakdown. Always good to see you from Canada. And again, I will apologize for all some Americans for what we're saying about you guys up there. It's pretty insane how good of a shooter Kawhi has become. 39% career three-point shooter. Have you noticed anything about his mechanics throughout the years? Have I? Dude shoots probably the lowest arc you're going to see from almost anybody. And that translates to you have to be really kind of perfect to make a lot of those when they don't go above 41 degrees. It's impressive. Huge hands. They limited his movements, which is the thing I would never develop a shooter like they developed Kawhi in that very old school mode. But he was able to figure it out. Rhythm isn't optimal in my mind, but man, when he's on and he's been on for a while now, it's 15 games at least where he's been just scorching. So that's the big thing to me. Do you see anything about his mechanics that stands out to you?
I mean, his mechanics were always very robotical.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. It's not fluid. But I would say, Michael Jordan was more of a mid-range shooter. He did hit 6 threes against the Blazers, right? In one quarter, right? In 1992?
Half, I think, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, his shot was no arc, and he was a very good shooter. So, yeah, it's interesting. Different people do different things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Michael had, I think, even more arc than that. Like, that's how crazy it was.
Really? I mean, he didn't have high arc, though, at all.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm picturing like the last shot against the Jazz in game.
No, but I'm talking about like early Jordan. We used to hang in the air for mid-range shots.
Yeah, probably. But you know what? In my mind's eye, picturing it now. And by the way, I was there live watching those games. I could picture higher arc than what I see from Kawhi. But within a few, it could be he could be 45, Michael, and then Kawhi 42.
My question is to you though. He didn't have high arc when you're like comparing all players.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like doing Steph Curry arcs, like that, whatever. But and Curry's target is 48, by the way.
So was it below average arc or above average arc, Michael Jordan?
Well, I mean, the ideal arc, if you talk to the Noah guys, is 45, right? Yeah. And so if you want to use that as your guide, it's obvious. I think he was probably right around there. I think Michael was probably right around 45, and I can tell you that Kawhi is lower. But whatever, and it's those guys with the big hands can sometimes struggle. Dr. J couldn't shoot from the outside, but again, he had a 2.5 motion shot and had to hang in the air long because of all that power he generated with his legs. So, but I think I could have helped Dr. J if you could teleport me back to the early 70s. I could help him. I could have made him into a better shooter.
Okay.
So, Doc, call me up if you still want to get that going. I bet you Dr. J could still dunk.
He was in his
65.
He was in his 60s.
Yeah. How old is Dr. J? How old is?
I just saw him at All-Star Weekend. Yeah.
75. Whoops, I'm way off. Maybe he can't still. Do you know who still can dunk at his age? Is Marcus Johnson.
Yeah. His son's a podcaster now with Gil. Yeah.
Oh, he is? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what's happened throughout the years. Is basically they've just been limiting his movements. Again, I'm much more about I want the freedom of movement to unlock rhythm. But yeah, I would suspect it's just a matter of how most players get better over time, right? After they shoot enough time to get older, they get better, and you just get more and more comfortable with the game. And I think that's sort of the natural outcropping for him of why it's got to this point where it is now.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to have awful coaching back on. What do you think? Should we have him back on?
Sure.
Okay. We need a little volume adjustment on the show. We're too stayed in our delivery.
What do you mean in terms of volume or in terms of?
But ironically enough, he comes on the show and he's not that guy, right? He was much more subdued.
Some people can't keep that same energy when other people are in the room, man.
Yeah, right. I guess maybe that's my effect on people. I put them to sleep. Scolby Locks, my goodness, Scolby, thank you so much for this totally generous super chat. Really, really appreciate that. Last time Luka played the Wolves in the playoffs, he ate them alive on one leg. Yes, that is true. It's really good use of the metaphor of eating a wolf. What can the Wolves do to stop him? And do they even have the personnel? They have good defenders, but none have bothered Luka. Thoughts?
Well, he started crying when he saw that shot over Rudy when they did the Lakers tribute video, and he always destroys Rudy, and he has a lot of history with Rudy.
It's the Mavericks tribute video. Let's give them, right?
What did I say? T Wolves
tribute video.
Oh, well, the Mavs fans are now Lakers fans, so it all makes sense, Yeah, so I did that on purpose. But yeah, no, I mean, he always cooks Rudy and the T-Wolves, and he even cooked them back when he was with the Jazz. So
yeah,
and he cooks them overseas when they're in Europe playing. So it's that's a team that doesn't seem like they'll be able to stop him. But I would say, like, when I was thinking about the Lakers, I thought how they would be able to dominate in the paint, and the Wolves do have a little bit better paint defense than some of the other teams, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because they're playing with bodies, like with Naz Reid and Julius Randle and Rudy.
Right. But, Randall, I don't know, is going to make many plays on that end. I think that, what I'm going to say, right? The easiest adjustment they can make, right, is what?
Put Anthony Edwards on Luka?
Well, okay, but just not playing Rudy. But make sure Naz Reid is in there way more.
I mean, then LeBron and Luka eat them alive. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, Luka eats Rudy alive, but I think like there's not enough defensive presence at all. It's an issue either way, man.
Right. It's funny because you want to have him in there, Rudy in there, but again, and Rudy hurts more on the other side.
Rudy's more like second side defense. He's going to help you, right? Like, yeah, if he's guarding Luka in the switch, it's over. But you also want him help side. So
he averages 33 minutes a game, right, as a starter. Now, normally in the playoffs, that gets up to let's look. Oh, did I close it out? Where is it? No. So in the playoffs, let's say last year he went from 34 minutes a game to 34 minutes a game. Right. So they're keeping it pretty even. Let's see, when before that, 35 and 35. All right. So, the year before that, he went from 30 to 35. So, let's just pretend that I'm sorry, that was wrong. I'm looking at the playoffs. 35, 32. So it goes up a little bit. I bet you it'll go up a couple minutes. I go the other way. I would play him 22 minutes a game.
And you think the Wolves are good enough defensively to do well in the playoffs without playing Rudy at all?
Well, I mean, cut a third of his minutes. Yeah, I think that would be the key. And then you'll get more Naz Reid. You'll get more. I mean, you're not going to go like Randall at center, but they got to, Naz Reid is, I think, the key if they want to win that series.
What do you think the Wolves' defensive rating would look like if Rudy just didn't play a lot?
You would have to argue in the macro sense over a whole season that it would be a little higher. But would they be better?
The defense would be better without Rudy.
No, the defensive rating would be higher. Would be worse.
Right. Yeah,
a little bit. I don't know how much more. Right at this point, honestly. But you'd have to. You couldn't argue that it'd be better. And I'll recognize that. But I think that he might be getting by on his good looks the last couple of years more so than before. And you're going to get better offensive stack. It's just going to be I think it'll be a better team. I'm just telling you. Now, you can use him, play him, but just drop those minutes to 20, 22 minutes. And I'm telling you that alone, because I don't know what, Finch is going to be an interesting issue in terms of his adjustments. He doesn't necessarily adjust very well. And we don't know about JJ Redick at all. But seeing what we see with Redick, he's certainly it takes a lot of things into consideration. It's constantly trying to grind that out and figure out what they can do to adjust and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Redick come out with some interesting stuff. Like they might guard in a weird way. Like if Rudy's out there, they could put a guard on him. They could put like Austin Reeves on him. I don't know. They can do stuff like that and really muck up what the Wolves offense is trying to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they want to throw, if they want to post up Gobert on Reeves, I think the Lakers would take that.
Yeah, I don't think it's ideal to make your offense based around Rudy Gobert post touches.
That's right. So anyhow, do we cover the rest of that question? Do the Wolves? Yeah. So do they have?
Well, what's your prediction? What's your prediction?
So I listen. I always get burned if I ever pick against LeBron. So I'm going to pick the Lakers for sure. For coaching wise,
Lakers
personnel wise, is for sure. And let me just see here.
Knicks in 6, Lakers in 7.
Let me get here.
That's what I think.
Knicks in 6. I'll go Knicks in 6. I'm just trying to see anyway because like Jaden McDaniels is probably going to guard him. Luka, we're talking about, but again, if you want to bring another player to Luka, then that means LeBron's going to get a long closeout to attack. And it means,
I actually see a world where like the Lakers could like really just dominate this series too. But I will go Lakers in 7 anyway.
7. Okay, wow. Yeah, I wouldn't think it goes that long. I think it's 6.
Okay.
They have home court advantage. They have too many advantages. So yeah, and then by the way, even if they cross a long closeout for Austin Reeves is going to have a huge, probably at least one like really big game in the series.
In every series, probably.
Yeah. He is him, as they say. Let's get to our next super chat. Alan Tran, thank you so much, Alan. Always great to see you as well. Another best friend of the breakdown. The only players on Detroit who should be untouchable are Cade and Asar. Maybe Duren. Ivy is expendable. Yeah. I like Tobias. Tobias is a guy who is, if he's like their 5th best player or 4th best player, could be on a really good team.
Luka Doncic got traded. Who's untouchable these days? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the Mavericks are going to find out in a very painful way that Luka should.
They're finding out, and they'll find out more for sure.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the reactions? Right? I mean, there are fans who might never ever come back.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're going to city council complaining about this.
Oh, they are. I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
So it's bad. Like it's a really the chemicals involved in trying to to build a fan base, right? And you mess that up even a little bit, and then on the margins, it's probably like politics. Once you lose someone, you lose a vote, you never get it back. So, although let me just say this: that said, you would have thought that in Philly during the process they would have lost all their fans too, and yet,
well, there was the process was also hope. There was also a lot of good young talent.
Right.
It was different.
Right. This is the opposite of that. Yes, this is the unprocessed, the anti-process.
This is the dead end.
The dead end. Yeah. It is. It's not looking great. Anthony Davis is around, but what are they going to go from there? I don't know. All right. So yeah, but I love Asar. Again, those guys train together. They're twins. They shoot together, and they don't make together. It's unfortunate. So
Asar coming into the draft was supposed to be the better shooter out of him and
I don't think he doesn't take any threes, and when he does, he hits 20-something%. Right? It's not good. And I don't know what happened. It really, it shouldn't have been that way. But he's still just a tough. They're both they just play in a similar way, which I really really enjoy watching.
And that might be the best.
Cade, but Cade's got to improve.
Everybody got to improve.
Yeah, Duren makes me a little bit nuts watching. It's frustrating to watch that.
But Coach, everybody has to improve, right? Especially when they're 23.
Yeah, but I just think that Cade has been elevated a little bit higher than he is.
Well, you agree with who was the guy? What was the guy's name that you did the
with Cahill? Yeah,
you agree with Koo that he's 15 to 20, right?
No. Oh, did I say that in the interview?
You didn't say no when he said that.
I sorry, the interview I did was a long time, like in February or early March.
Well, he's even better now then. So okay.
Oh, really? No, I'm putting him in it's between 20 and 25.
Yeah, I disagree with
Which, by the way, is an all-star, right? There's 12 all-stars each team.
I disagree. Well, he's definitely, when we're talking about this season, it's not a top 25 season. It's a top 15 season.
No.
Yes, it is.
Can't be last in the rim and be top 15. That's my rule.
But what if you're the best player on a team without a supporting cast that are like 30+ wins from the year before?
We're talking about individual,
and you're averaging 25 and 9.
I don't know. It's you got to have a
I mean, everybody has a supposed weakness. By the way, when I watch him play, the eye test tells me he's a pretty good finisher. But I mean, if you dive deep enough into the numbers, all 23-year-olds have weaknesses. There's no perfect player.
You want to know why I looked it up? It's because the eye test showed me this is terrible. And I'm like, how terrible is it? And it's last.
But how about
not a little bit below average?
But how about the results of the raw stats and the wins? Like, he's good at winning. So
it doesn't mean individually we're going to rank him in the top 15.
So if a player is on an historically bad team, now they make listen.
You watch those misses. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he's got a player on his team that is better than other people on other teams. These are
what I'm saying is,
if you want to be in the top 15, you got to overcome that. Then fine.
Yeah, he made the playoffs with this team. Their second best player is Malik Beasley.
No, what I say overcome, I mean he has to overcome whatever this is. The issue is hitting near the rim and be able to make more shots. I'd give it to you if he was average.
But but his team is winning and he's averaging 25 and 9.
Restricted area at the basket, finishing. You got to be able to do that if you want to be in the top 15. Like there's no.
But he's proving the way he is. He's a winning franchise player right now at the age of 23.
Okay, but and again, you're short selling a little bit. I think of what they put around him that made the team.
Their second best player is Malik Beasley.
Doesn't matter. I don't think. Let me see in the comments. Let me know in the comments if you think, and maybe I can do a poll. Do you think that I'll do it? Let's do the poll. I got to figure out how to get over there. Do you think that being last in restricted area field goal percentage precludes you from being in the top 15 players in the NBA right now?
Well, it's a fact he's having a top 15 season. If you want to say he's not a top 15 player, fine. But for this season, he's having a top 15 season of all NBA players.
No.
Yes.
He's not.
You can't name 15 players who are having a better season than Cade Cunningham.
I'm not even sure I'm following exactly what. Let me. Let's see. How are you approaching this? You're approaching this from impact, I think, is what you're trying to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus skill.
He's very skilled.
Not enough. Can Cade Cunningham be in the top 15?
What are you asking, ChatGPT? Oh, you're doing a
area field goal percentage. Yes or no? Start poll. Go right now. You guys are already in there. Head over to YouTube, please. Although I could do it. I don't even want to do it on Twitter because Twitter is just a horrible place. But go over there right now. Start voting. It looks like people are already voting. Let me know.
I mean, Juicy asks, is he all NBA is basically the question. He's all NBA this year.
Right. Well, all NBA is, it's only top 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might get there. And I don't think he should. I guess that's my point.
My thing is, though, if he has the results and the raw stats, don't you think it's unfair to isolate one part of the game and say he's not that if he's producing at a high level and his team is winning without a great supporting cast?
I guess we're measuring two different things. I think that's the point. You know, you're talking about him being is he better than 15 other players in the NBA? Like, no.
I said that there's an argument maybe for that, but to say he's not having a top 15 season this year, that would be false. To say he's not having a top 15 season for this year.
Right. Because you're going to say no one is scoring 25 a game and 8 assists or 9, whatever that is.
I mean, 25 and 9 with no supported cast.
If you want to do that and just let's go by numbers.
No, but I test too. I mean, he's making everybody around him better.
Yeah, it's good, but like again, it doesn't get into the top 15 that way. And the people he's making better and the whatever, it's like he's.
I test when I watch him play. He's making threes. He's making mid-range shots. He's spinning off people and getting to the rim and finishing.
Right. So he's not in the tier of like the top, like the people like LeBron, like the top 5 who overcome all of that. You know, with even worse teammates. He's not in the top 10. Because it's still a lot of those guys too. 6 through 10 are going to be a lot of that too. Now, but if you want to get in top 15, like, you know, and if you want to argue that because his team isn't very good around him, he's missing shots at the rim, like, I'm not going to buy that.
When did I say that? I said he's
bringing up the fact that he doesn't have really good teammates, and
I'm talking about the impact on winning he's had with this team.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm just being specific.
Look at look at the. I'm talking about doing more with less. Like, look at the support.
So you put those two things together.
No, but Coach Nick, I'm saying
players in him. I mean, that's it. Now, again, there are players that have less stats that I might say is better than him. Like I could probably say,
"Can you hear me?
Jimmy Butler." I hear you.
Okay.
Is Jimmy Butler better than him? Like I think so. Even though
here's the thing. That's a good example because Jimmy Butler's a better player, but Cade is having a better season. It's a good example you brought up.
Okay, maybe, but look what Jimmy did to the Warriors when he got there.
That's fair, but overall, Cade has had a better basketball season than Jimmy Butler.
Right.
Is he? And that's part of my point. He's having a top 15 season. If you want to argue he's not a top 15 player because there's a lot of guys, if their peak is higher, they're veterans, they're not having the same kind of season.
No. I'm talking about this year, how people are playing even this year.
I mean, this year he's top 15 for this specific season. Yes, top 15 for sure.
I don't think
look around, Coach Nick. Look around at the other playoff teams. Look at the second best player on each team. It's like totally different levels here. He's doing more with less.
But he is in certain areas. But again, finishing at the rim is a very specific thing that if you want to be one of those dominant players.
All right, but if you're isolating a stat, but you're still
it's not a stat. It's a skill. It's one. I think it's the most important skill. If you want to put yourself in that situation where you're the leader of a team, you can't be the last in the league in layups, basically.
But the results are saying different. The results of what he's doing this season are saying different.
I don't know. I suppose imagine if he was average. How much like they probably
that means there's room. That means he could get even better. That's scary.
That's and that was my point. Is that he can get any better, and there's a big upside there if he can solve that. I don't know. I know I just said that people get better at 3-point shooting.
I mean, everybody, but Coach Nick, everybody has different weaknesses. If the results are the results of him winning basketball teams, taking a team with no supporting cast to be number 6 in the East.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
all the sole credit for that too.
He gets a lot of it, Coach Nick. He gets a lot of it.
Yeah. But there's also other guys that came in that also changed the culture.
Best player on the team always gets, especially with his usage, they get most of the credit.
Right. Well, at least we can agree he's the best player on the team.
There you go. We agree.
But I don't know. Let's see. I'll give a few more minutes to that. Go over to YouTube, please, and vote on this thing. We'll see what we'll do it democratically. All right, John Hecht, thank you so much, John. Do my Wolves have a chance to get revenge on Luka? So we kind of talked about that a little bit. I'm giving them a very low percentage chance. I think that's what we ultimately said, right? We're picking the Lakers in what did we say, 6?
I think you got 6. I got 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a chance, but I would probably give them a 25% chance to do it. Now, Anthony Edwards, does he go nuts? And he certainly could because defensively, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're going to have to put Vanderbilt on him. That would work. That would be as good as anything.
Does Naz Reid have a few Naz Reid games? You never know.
Yeah, I mean, they have pieces. It's interesting. I don't know. I always get burned when I pick against LeBron, and especially in the first round. So, let me just check here. So it's like, can they handle Anthony Edwards? Anthony Edwards can also get cold and, he shoots so many threes. But they have some defenders. Dorian Finney-Smith could also handle him. So the Lakers have just enough, I think, to contain enough of Anthony Edwards. And then you have, what else are they going to bring to the table at that point? So Naz is going to be a real X factor there. So if he can somehow have a really big impact, which we've been waiting for him to do, and if they give him more of a chance, then they have a chance. All right, let's edit some more. Let's go over to here and see. Alan, thank you so much. Alan's back. Is there a world where the Cavs or Boston doesn't come out of the East? And if so, which team represents the East? Pacers are intriguing, in my opinion. Is that where the Pacers are coming in? My intrigue is peaking.
They're a fun team, and I liked how they leaned into analytics. We've seen a lot of the teams lately who are leaning into analytics winning, right? We saw Florida in college. We saw Boston in the NBA. They play fun basketball. Are they good enough defensively to get out the East? I'm not sure about that.
Right. They can wear you down like they did the Knicks and just keep pushing the pace. Let me just see here.
I think Pascal is probably one of the most under-discussed stars in the NBA. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, here's what's really interesting. I just wanted to check this. Who you're saying, Pascal? I mean, he's one of those other guys. Like, where does he rank Right. He was on his way. Everyone thought he was going to be a surefire or whatever. He was going to be top something. And I think he's kind of stalled, right?
Are you making a correlation with Cade when we're talking about Pascal Siakam? Please don't do that, Coach Nick.
Let's not hope he follows.
Coach Nick, don't do that. Don't do that, Coach Nick.
Because
Cade was the best player in college basketball when he was playing. He was the #1 draft pick for the reason, and we're seeing the results right now. You can't compare that to Pascal. It's different. It's different trajectory.
Good. Well, let's
Well, Pascal is a champion, though. You got to give him credit. He is a champion.
Don't forget that Siakam was on that the next Kawhi. That's what they wanted to anoint him. Remember?
Yeah, but there's levels of being an offensive engine that Cade has that Pascal doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, let's see here.
Pascal is a complimentary. He's a great star. Cade could be the best player on a championship team at some point.
I need to go down a deep dive on Pascal this year. I haven't looked at him this year. Like, it really focused.
I'm just saying, like, there's probably a lot of
my thing. With, at any rate, let's get.
Go ahead.
Oh no! Oh, here I am.
Yeah,
are you back? The only other team in the East, what would we say? Would he even have a chance? Is that what we're saying? Is because the Bucks aren't going to do it because they don't have Dame, right? As far as I know, he's not coming back from the.
Here's Coach Nick. Here's my thing. Can I say one more thing? If we're looking at great players, we could probably find a stat that they're not that great in. Like, let's say we said Shaq's mid-range numbers are the worst.
I wouldn't hold that against him at all.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't hold that against him from putting.
That's what I'm saying. There's things that you could find. Like, if you want to find a bad stat about a player, you can find a bad stat about a player, no matter how great they are.
This is not just like an old random stat on Sunday evenings. He only shoots from 10% from three. This is at the rim across the whole season. At the rim, got it? Layups.
But Coach Nick, do you see how good the team is with him being their best player and them not having a supporting cast?
Yeah. I mean, the team's fine. They're sixth. They're kind of like I mean, they're not going any farther than this if he doesn't take a big jump.
He has taken a jump.
And I pray that they're going to upgrade, a couple positions there, which hopefully they can, but again, that's as far as they're going to, I mean, he needs to improve at the rim.
No, he has, I mean, he's 23, so he has room for improvement for sure.
Yeah, there absolutely is. I mean,
so if you went about and said, this is the way he can improve, I totally agree with it. If you say this is the reason he's not a top 15 guy, I disagree with it.
But those two things could be true.
Well, they could be true, but that doesn't mean that the top 15 thing is untrue.
The turnover thing too also was frustrating, but in the passing, accuracy stuff. But whatever. I think the rest of the crowd is as evidenced by the fact that not a lot of people wanted to watch the video. I think maybe this is what they don't want to hear any more of this conversation either. Okay, but let's find out. Okay, let's go back to the here it is. How do I see it? Okay. Are you ready for this? There's 65 votes. Not a ton, but it's probably most people who are watching on the YouTube side. Everyone's on Twitter. Can Cade Cunningham be in the top 15 while last in restricted field goal percentage? No, 57. Yes, 43.
Wait, say what was the question one more time? Sorry.
Can Cade be in the top 15 while last in restricted area field goal percentage?
Well, it's last for a certain demographic of players, right? It's not the whole league.
You have 5 attempts, and there's almost 40 of them, so it's not like
Okay.
So it's overwhelmingly no. Everyone's agreeing with me, but this is my show, so it's
wait. What's the percentage?
58-42.
Overwhelmingly, that counts as overwhelmingly.
It does.
Make that a question.
58-42. That's not close.
Overwhelmingly
48. That's close. It's 16-point difference. I mean, what do you want?
No, that's not overwhelmingly. I disagree. But go ahead.
Oh wow, Combo. I don't know what's happening here, but you're making me a little bit concerned about you. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great.
All right, because 58-42. That's not close.
So Ronald McPaul, not me. This is Ronald McPaul is saying he rigged it with the way he asked the question.
I mean, at least it's there. You could stare at the question for a few times and then see.
Zubinator says, yeah, that isn't overwhelmingly. And Borges said Cunningham easily top 15 easily. And he is way better than Butler, who just cruising through the regular season.
Well, anybody who says he's just cruising through regular season didn't watch the last 20 games of the season. But I get it. I get why you'd say that based on the Miami stuff, and that's too bad. Always related to contract. If you don't pay Jimmy what he feels like he's worth, he becomes upset. But if you can just pay him and he feels okay there, then you're going to get playoff Jimmy and all that stuff. So, all right. So let's get back to where are we here? Is there all right? So anyway, so thank you, Alan. I really appreciate that. And then again, the Pacers are the only intriguing because the Bucks are not there, and then anybody else in the East besides Celtics and Cavs that leads to Pistons. No. Now we got some about the Magic and the or I guess who do you have, the Magic or the Hawks winning the play-in?
Magic.
Okay, so we do the Magic gets out of there, and then Bulls and Heat. Who gets out of there between the Bulls, Heat, and Hawks?
I want the Heat to win, so I'm going to say the Heat. But the Bulls have been really fun towards the end of the season. I mean, you can't count them out.
Uh-oh, I think we're struggling. My internet might be having some problems. But what was the last sentence you said?
I said I want to go with the Heat. I want to see the Heat win, but the Bulls have been really fun, so you can't count them out.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't know about the Heat. The Heat's vibes, even after Jimmy left. I don't know. So that's about it. Yeah, for the East. I'm going to go Cavaliers. I think the Cavaliers might be able to beat the Celtics.
Who do you think wins Bulls Heat?
I'll go with Bulls. Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean. I mean, then they have to play again. They got to play the Hawks probably. And if we're looking at this, and so that's interesting as well. And they could beat the Hawks for sure.
Yes.
All right, let's get to another super chat from C. Thank you so much, C. I really, really appreciate it. Cade still operating with two non-spacers still. Pair that with a coach who doesn't run real offense. Duren sets him back. I agree. Duren, I think off the bench in like 20 minutes a game could give you something, and be that guy who's like really hard rim runs and finishing strong at the basket and that kind of thing. But I think that they're playing. I mean, watch, he's only playing that, but I feel like he's playing more, right?
Yeah.
How many minutes does
By the way, thanks to C for the super chat. That's not a burner of combos. Don't worry.
Right. Where is Duren's 26 minutes, right? So if he was at 20, I'd be happier with him. But again, they're shorthanded. They need more players, good players. So it is tough. But again, that could very well be the argument for why he misses more at the rim, because it's more like compacted. But I don't know. The top 15 guys overcome that and finish. And again, if he finished average, okay, fine. But he's the last.
But Coach Nick, I told you, top 15 NBA players debatable. I'm not mad at that. But to say he's not top 15 this specific season is not debatable.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. But
no matter what about like an isolated finishing numbers with only a certain demographic of the league. Like I told you, I think we talked about this. Like, is he he's not the worst finisher in the league. He's not.
Okay. He's the worst high volume finisher at the league. That's what you're saying. That's
fine. That's an improvement area. It doesn't mean he's not top 15 for this season.
Yeah. And again, most of those stats you're talking about, fine. It doesn't necessarily would preclude him from being in the top 15. But when you get to something as important as that, in my book, it does. I think people agree with me. It's close. Even if they didn't read the question properly.
There's people that agree with you, and there's people that disagree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're trying to make it seem like there's no argument at all.
Not for this season. For this season, he had a top 15 season in the NBA.
I don't know. So now you're talking this weird way about top 15 season. I don't know what that means.
I always made that clear. I'm very clear with my speech.
Right. He might not be a top 15 player, but he's having a top 15 season. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. Let Cade make his statement in this playoff series once and for all. All right. And
the poll
just dance around and
the poll says that 52-48, by the way. That's not overwhelmingly.
Wait, now it became 52-48? Oh, now I got 53-47. So it closed after we talked about it. Somehow you got some extra people to vote in this thing. Can you vote more than once? Probably not, right?
I'm the combo, the great debater.
Right. No matter after you threw in some more stuff, it got closer. Good for you. That's closer. 53-47 is a little bit closer, at least, but
a little bit closer.
I mean, it's now in that realm where it's kind of close, but close is like 50-48 or 51-40.
Come on, Coach Nick.
49.
Come on, Coach Nick. All right, let's get to the next super chat.
Certainly in on my side. All right, we have another super chat here. Who do you think shot a higher percentage from twos, Cade or Edward? So this is interesting. So overall 2-point percentage, I guess the answer is going to be 2. Now, here's what we said. Cade is an elite mid-range shooter. He is 6th or something in the league in high volume mid-range shooter. Now how much value we're talking about mid-range. You're talking about overall twos, right? Okay, here. Well, obviously Edwards is not worse than Cade at the rim. Because again, we should compare that too, right? But I think you're talking about overall 2-point percentage, right? Which is rough because it talks about at the rim, it talks about mid-range. There's a lot of stuff involved in a 2-point percentage. It's not great to do that, right? But I mean, Cade's at 51.5% on 2-point percentage, and then Edwards is what? This year he is at, if I'm reading this properly, he is at 50%, 50.1. And what's Cade?
51, you said.
Oh, here he is. 51.5 to, what did I say? 50.5.
The more efficient 2-point scorer.
Right. Now, you want to look at what he shoots at the rim. That could be interesting if you want to.
We know that it's not good for the high volume shooters. It's an improvement area. It doesn't mean he's not top 15 this season, though.
Right. Well, but he brings up a good point, right? So we should look at. I think it's shooting. Let me look real quick. So shooting by zone, restricted area. Let's go to this is, I know, riveting, but Minnesota. All right. So Anthony Edwards shoots 63.4% in the restricted area. Okay, 63.4, and Cade is at, I believe the term we're going to use is not close.
Wait, so why, when we're talking about one stat, why are we going back to the stat that you already discussed? I'm confused.
56.9. So that's a pretty big jump. That's 7-point difference. Because he's trying to make the, whatever. But I'm just trying to give you an idea because he's including 2-point percentage, right?
Right. But Coach Nick, your stat means something, but his stat means something as well, Coach Nick.
Right. But that stat is a little bit misleading because he's folding in so much when you're talking about 2-point percentage because it's not the rim. Because the rim is in there. If you want to talk about 2-point percentage, let's talk about the rim at the rim. Let's talk about mid-range. We'll kind of cover the whole thing. So it's close, but interestingly enough, and I know it's because of the mid-range. Obviously, Cade is good at the mid-range. Anthony Edwards is probably must be worse.
This stat
what's more valuable? Shots at the rim and the threes. Like that's what's going to make you into that player that's impactful the most.
I think the stat is telling. It speaks to Cade's efficiency.
Right. Okay. And again, I went over that all in the video too about how good he is in the mid-range. And by the way, and that also is an indicator that you're in that role of being a top 5 player, right? When you're taking those mid-range shots that are tough for the game and the balance, like that means 100%. That you're there, you're on your way there, and he's making those, which is good. It's just got to start.
Like when you're thinking about prime Kawhi and KD and all those guys, and even Michael Jordan, all
those guys finished much better than he does at the rim.
Well, we're going back to the old stat. This is the new stat we were talking about. So one stat is telling, but one stat is telling, but one stat is not telling.
More telling. Yes. Got to be able to finish the rim.
Wait, so one stat is more telling because it aligns with what you think?
No, because it's more valuable in the scheme of how the game is played.
Mid-range. But mid-range in the playoffs is really important.
Yeah. He's kind of going backwards now. He's got like that part of it all ready to go before he got the other stuff. So he's got to get the other stuff. Should have gotten the other stuff first. Now, Euro Thunder. Thank you so much, Euro Thunder. Great to see you. Coach and combo. Which East and West teams are your dark horses? Name your top 15 in regards to Cade. So that's where it gets hard because I got to look at the list. I got to, I didn't know we were going to do this for all.
Actually, you know what? It's right. Name 15 players who are having a better season than Cade Cunningham.
All right. Jason Tatum.
Yes.
Yes. Jokic is having the best season of all time.
Yes.
And if I'm going out of town on Wednesday, I want to do the video between him and SGA. SGA.
Yes.
Luka. It's a little bit, but he's
he's a better player. I don't know if he's having a better season, but I'll give you him. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know where we're at. I mean, we're talking about for Cade, who's better than Cade?
Yep, you got 4 guys.
All right. I mean, I'll say Jimmy is playing, is better than
Jimmy. Jimmy Butler is not having a better season.
Fine. It's only for that. Okay. So Steph.
I'll give you him. He's a better player, but not having a better season. But I'll give you him.
He's having a pretty good season, man.
Okay. He actually, you know what? He stepped it up when Jimmy got back. So we'll give you Steph.
I don't want to. I don't even know. This is okay. Did we already talk? We talked about Brunson versus Cade. Wow.
Yeah, Cade is having a better season.
All right, and he got hurt. He missed a bunch of things. Okay, who else are we talking about here? What about Anthony Edwards? No,
6.
Okay, you give it to me. Okay, I'll take it. All right. What about Donovan Mitchell?
No.
Okay.
No.
Nope. What about This is funny.
Yeah. By the way,
Harden?
Cade is averaging more points, rebounds, and assists than Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson.
Okay. All right. So now you're gonna put Kawhi.
Not first half of the season didn't play enough.
Is that it? That's interesting. You know, it's funny. There's a lot of teams that really just fell off completely. Didn't have anybody. Right, because you would have had to have put Embiid in there. You would have had to have put like if Dame played.
Okay, here, I'll give you one. I'll give you one, Coach Nick. Giannis.
Giannis.
I'll give you one.
Okay, good. So where are we up to?
8.
He can't be top 10, but I guess he is. I mean, what about the Rock? I mean, the Rockets are interesting because we're gonna
Yeah.
I mean, Şengün kinda is better, but he doesn't get enough.
No, he's not. He's not better than Cade.
All right, fine.
He's not better or the better season.
Right, like Anthony Davis played the whole season like that. Then maybe you had to put him in front, right? Or no?
Yeah, they traded him. It's over.
So it's weird. It's a weird, interesting season. So all right, I guess you're right. I can't find anybody.
Coach Nick, it finally admits it. Cade Cunningham, top 15 player this season.
I got to see. There's probably another few players, but you're right. Probably not enough to get him into 16th.
Yep.
That's fascinating. All right, fine. You got it. You win. I guess my standard will still be there regardless. But this is an intriguing season where it's hard to believe that that number. Like all the guys that fell. Oh, we didn't say KD.
Is he having a better season than Cade?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go by even just numbers, I mean, he played his typical, very normal.
He played the way he played.
KD was at 26-6, which is at least.
But now you got to name like 6 more.
KD's at almost 27 a game, 6 rebounds, 4.2 assists. Shot where did he shoot from 3? 40. I mean,
he had
3.
He had Devin Booker and Bradley Beal playing with him, and Cade has Malik Beasley and Duren.
Yeah, I mean, listen, those guys aren't really where they used to be either.
And now I agree with Chris John. Wemby's is the better player, but he didn't have a better season, unfortunately, because he was out.
Yeah, it's a weird season. Like Zion, you could put in front of him if he was healthy and playing all the way through. Right.
You could say that. You could say Zion about almost anybody, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's just he didn't.
Give me a second. I got to plug in my computer. Give me a second. Go ahead, talk.
Oh, okay, I'm talking. Zion only played 30 games, so it's like, is Zion healthy when he's playing? He's 27-12 and whatever, 27-8 and something. So and 4. So it's interesting. Okay, so it's just a weird season. I think that. There's just, you know what? And I wonder if that's why the ratings are down too. Right? There's just like a lack of those elite players. Anyway, Huggable Cat. I did not see that Ted Lasso got renewed for season 4. That's exciting. I cannot wait. I love Ted Lasso. So, all right, Euro Thunder, good for you. When you actually look at the number, I think that's probably what you needed to do from the beginning. Combo. It's just sort of.
I thought that would take too long, to be honest.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that would take preparation, which we didn't do. Alan, again, thank you so much, Alan Tran. Really appreciate this. Again, another super chat from you. Why should this matter? 2 points is 2 points. It does matter because a 17-footer that's contested when the shot clock's winding down, you have to take it as something. But when you make a move, when you get to the basket and you got to finish, that's a whole other thing, and that separates the best players, right? That's what you know when you got it, right? LeBron at his height, when he was hitting 70-some% from the 2-point line, that was That's dominant. That's top 2, 3, 4, whatever you are, right? Giannis, when he does that, like that is what I'm talking about. Now, from the position that Cade plays, it's obviously lower, but like, we even saw Steph was able to be, when he was getting the rim, and his height was way higher than this, and finishing. You got to finish when you're near the basket. I think that's just a no-brainer for me in terms of rating the top. I guess I'm going to have to say top 6 players, 7 or whatever he is now, because I can't believe that there isn't more. But anyhow, all right. Joe B, always great to see you, Joe B. Thank you so much. And we got to get out of here. Relative to Cade, I also throw Cat in there. Yes, Cat is, offensively at least. I don't know. Now we got to figure out, are we only talking about defense or offense? And by the way, I think my argument is forced your camera to go blurry. I think that's all the other thing that happened. So that should tell you something, Combo. And I would also submit that Wemby before he went down. Yeah, so Wemby for sure. Cat, offensively, I think, God is he a force when he's playing like that. So I don't hear you on the volume now, but whatever. So good point. Good point. Watch. So out of the woodwork, someone else is going to come out of there. Oh yeah, him.
Mike. There you go.
Yeah, but we're not going to probably find another 5. So I hear you. All right. Anyhow, well, we got to wrap this up. Thank you so much, everybody, for the super chats. Wonderful show today. I'm excited to be proven wrong. So thank you for doing that. And I've still taken Jimmy over Tatum, though, by the way.
Me too. No, well, Tatum's having the better season, but Jimmy's the better player. How about that?
I mean, I just prefer him. Like, and by the way, I'm trying to. The whole thing about the Tatum fans, they're gripping the phone really tight. But I don't argue with them. I'm like, listen, it totally makes sense that you want Tatum over to Butler. Like, I'm not going to tell you anything about that decision other than good decision. I prefer Jimmy. I think playoff Jimmy is a whole other animal. So at any rate, there you go. Wait, okay. No one heard that before? All right. Anyway, great. So we have a whole new round of fans who are going to start screaming at me about my Jimmy over Butler take. But playoff Jimmy is something. And we saw it yesterday, man. Curry was struggling. He had a bad thumb, which we got to keep your eye on as well. And he took over when he wants to. He'll take over and be a better scorer than anybody out there, better defender. He could be the best player on the floor at any moment. Now, again, you can argue that because he doesn't do it all the time, that's why he's not. We can't give him all that. But all I know is that it's more to me like he wants to be a part of an offense and just move the ball and be whatever. And if they need it, he's like, all right, fine, F it. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to score every time I need to do it. You know what I mean? I think it's a good way to be a good teammate.
I agree. Yeah. No, Jimmy, I mean, when Jimmy's at his best, he's different, man. Yeah. Just different.
And don't forget, though, the last time he broke down, right? He got completely injured and played through it and couldn't do hardly anything.
He's been broke down a lot throughout the course of his career.
That was just too bad. And he got a knee in the thigh yesterday. It was brutal, but he kept playing. So it's like, you got to hope they can get him through the playoffs too. So that's why there's a lot of questions about the Warriors. We'll have to see how that plays out. But all right, good stuff. We'll be back again ASAP, and we'll see what we're going to do about these games. I'm out of town until Saturday, from Wednesday to Saturday, so I kind of not going to be able to do anything.
Maybe Saturday something.
Yeah, I got to see when I fly back. It might be later in the evening, so I don't know, but we'll see, because that's the first day. So maybe Sunday will be the day we'll do a live.
All right, sounds good. It sounds like a
plan. All right, guys, thanks so much, everybody. Thanks to all the super chats. Appreciate it. Combo, you're the best. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown. We're not a channel. We're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Combo?
Yes, sir.